Let's take a look at step 4 of your course spanning project. You're going to complete it in the same template that you've created steps 1 through 3 in, or at least that's where you're going to submit it. You might create it somewhere else and then type it up in here, but that's how you're going to submit it is step 4 of the template. And what you're going to do is um, create a plan for your family engagement activity, just like you would create a lesson plan for something that you're doing in school with just the children. You're going to create a lesson plan for this activity. Um, so you're going to submit it that way. And the purpose of it is what I just said. And you're going to make sure in this plan that you let me know that it's developmentally appropriate, that it's inclusive and accessible, that it's connected to either the Oklahoma Early Learning Guidelines or the Oklahoma Academic Standards, unless you're in another state, in which case you'll provide for me a link to whatever your state uses and go off of those. This needs to be supported by course materials, culturally and linguistically responsive, and rooted in authentic family engagement practices. So one of the things you're going to do, or you should do what I would do if I were working on a project, when I've worked on projects, is have the instructions in front of me, have the template in front of me, and have the rubric in front of me. I'd probably print the rubric off, and I would use this column like a checklist and just check items off as soon as I know that I've met that need, that standard. I'm not going to check anything off over here because I don't want to be doing what's in these. I'm going to look at them and make sure that I'm not doing anything that's stated in them, actually. But I can use this part as a checklist. So as we go through this, we're going to look at all three of those things. So what to include in your template is the name of your activity with a brief description. So if we look at the template, here it is. But before step 1 on the template, or not step 1, number 1, you need to fill this in. Field work, classroom location, so where you're doing, like where you work, basically the name of your center, and the age group that this is intended for. Obviously, it's intended for parents, but they're parents of what age group? And the children will be involved too, so whatever children you work with. And then the name and brief description. So delete here what's in red, give the activity a name, describe it. You can delete this part if you want. You can delete the lines if you want. I'm not sure why I included those, so sorry. Purpose and advocacy. I know that this time it says the same thing it says on the other instructions. Why is the activity meaningful for families and children? How does it support advocacy for their needs? So I would leave these here and then write a couple sentences, a paragraph after each of them. Do use complete sentences. Do use professional academic writing, but just answer each of these. Then you're going to do intended learning outcomes, just like you do on any lesson plan that you write or that you use. You could pull out a lesson plan and look at the learning outcomes on them. They should be actionable and they should be measurable. What do you want to have accomplished by the end of this activity? Families will be able to this. Families experience this. Families, I don't know, families got to know more about this. Or it can be children specific or adult specifics, a couple of them, but just have a good mix of like, I mean, you're planning this activity. There must be something you want to come from it. What is that? And then you're going to tie one way that this is DAP, okay? For the children that will be there, obviously, because we don't have DAP for adults. But you'll delete this part in red, and here's where you'll put, and I'm going to look at this in the instructions more. Here's where you will put guideline 1.A.2 or whatever, and then the quote that goes with that. And then here's where you'll explain how you determined that this activity meets that guideline. Again, you can delete the dots. So here's more information on the DAP part here. You need to use a specific DAP guideline. Not everything in this document is a guideline. The guidelines are found on pages 15 through 28. So those start right here. So here's guideline 1. They go through 6. So when you're writing out your guideline, it's going to start with a 1 through a 6. Guideline 1 dot, and then A or B or whatever. And maybe you stop there. Like there are no more B's, right? Maybe you stop there, but you would put guideline 1B and then you copy and paste this part and make sure the font matches the other font you're using and put it in quotes. Or you might put 1A, or you might put 1A 1.8.A.2 and put this, okay? But that's how we do guidelines. They'll always start with a number and then have a letter, and then you may go further than that. But that's how we're doing our DAP guidelines. So determine what that you are doing for the kids is developmentally appropriate for the age that's included here, okay? And so then here's more instructions on what I just said. Then after that, you're going to link to the ELG or the OAS, and you can find those in your welcome module, which is right here, State Early Learning Standards. So you're going to pick which age group you work with and go by those. And then you're going to have to be specific. For example, if you're working with 3 to 5-year-olds, first you'll tell me that on your document from the Oklahoma Early Learning Guidelines for ages 3 through 5. Standard. Well, first you're going to say which concept area the standard comes from. So approaches to learning standard 1. I'm just saying approaches to learning because I can get to it the fastest. Here's approaches to learning. So you would put approaches to learning standard 1. The child demonstrates positive attitude. So you'd put this in quotes. And then really, ideally, you would put an A or a B. You don't have to put the examples. You don't have to put the stars. Like these are ways that, these are tips for you. I don't know how much you've explored these, but these are nice tips for you and ways that you can be meeting these guidelines. Anyway, so approaches to learning standard 1. The child demonstrates positive attitudes, habits, and learning styles. A, demonstrates an eagerness and interest in learning. And then you're going to explain how you decided that it was that ELG. So there it is, these instructions in Canvas, and here it is on your paper. Standard code and text. So ELG 3 through 5, and then the rest of it. If you've got infants and toddlers, it gets a little more confusing because it's broken down by ages more, 0 to 8 months, and then so on, like into 3 different age groups. So you'll have to tell which age group you're in and the narrative for that age group. Then you're going to write about equity and inclusion considerations, what adaptations for children with exceptionalities, considerations for dual language learners, considerations for family diversity, cultural, socioeconomic, etc. Okay. Maybe you don't feel that you have any children with exceptionalities in this group. Pick some exceptionality and say what you could do for it. Okay. Same with dual language learners. Maybe you don't have any dual language learners. What if you did? How would you break that barrier? Then for family diversity, you should know by now, we've got diversity. Even if it doesn't look like what we used to think it looks like, we've got diversity. So this should be very real. Then a detailed list of supplies and materials, everything you're possibly going to need to pull this off. Is it DAP? Yes or no? It's okay if it's not, because this is for parents too. So maybe something that just the parents are doing isn't DAP. So you don't have to put yes on all of them. And this is where we are on that. Origin of the idea. Where'd you get this? So here on the template, you're going to put an X or a check in each of these. And then connection to course materials. How does this activity connect to something you've learned in class? Which course, module, chapter, or reading influenced your idea, and give a brief description. So on this, be specific. Don't just say the name of the textbook. Definitely don't say chapter 4 and think that whoever's reading is going to know what chapter 4 is. Give the name of the textbook and a page number of where you got your idea. Even a quote would be great. If it's not the textbook, it's something else. Give the specific name of the video and specific, like maybe a specific spot in the video or exactly what you're writing about. If it's a web page, make sure it's not the home page. Make sure it's wherever you went to, or give like a section title. A hyperlink to a website would be great too, but be specific on that. And I've got that right here. So that is your plan. Take your plan seriously because you are implementing this by the end of the semester. So just make sure that you're really planning something that you are excited to do. If you have any questions, please reach out. Um, please know that there are lots of different ways this could look. Okay. It could be a one-time planned activity. It could be a something you create and gets families involved at home, but then they're required to like give you feedback. There are lots of different ways this can look. So if you're unsure if something of yours will work, talk to me, please. Okay, I look forward to reading these. I'm excited. Y'all had some great ideas in step 3. So I really look forward to seeing what you decided on from step 3 to move forward with.